Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the colleagues here.
Dave.
Nate.
And today we're going to bring you yet another exciting rendition of Monster BFF. We have the Orc and the hippogriff / Griffin.
So you could go either way with this one. As far as Griffin and hippogriff, they're very interchangeable.
Right.
It's just a matter of which one do you prefer, which one do you want to use. I mean, the difference between the hippogriff and the Griffin is one's a CR1 and one's a CR2. And, the Griffin is like the surlier version of the hippogriff.
Right. So before we go any further, what page we have at work on here?
We have 46.
All right. The hippogriff is on page 184. Griffin is on 174 of your trusty monster manual.
So, for I guess for this video, let's just pick one of them and stick with it. And you guys, you could just swap out the other one.
I like Griffin.
Griffin? We'll go with Griffins.
All right.
They're sorely, orcs are sorely.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. Harder to train sounds good for a stubborn orc.
Yeah.
So,
challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. We'll just close off. You guys know that you can put in hippogriffs if you want a easier encounter. So looking at Griffin, first and foremost, you've got a flying mount that likes to eat horses. Yeah,
and they live in mountainous terrain. So it's convenient because
so it works for the orcs, on so many different levels. So when your orcs riding your griffins are descending upon your valiant knights, that you can kill the humans and take their mounts as food for your pet.
I was also thinking that's true, and I was also thinking about how you could have wild horses in a plains nearby the mountains, and then the griffins have ready food supply that they can just go munch on a horse, or the orcs can go on hunting parties and hunt whatever they want, or maybe they all eat horse. Maybe it's like a horse culture thing now.
Maybe.
Horse
I was thinking, I had this picture in my mind that the orcs used to ride horses, but the griffins kept coming and eating their horses. And they're like, oh my God, what are we going to ride now? We don't have nothing left to ride. Wait a minute.
What if we rode the griffins? That's actually a really cool history.
So basically maybe there's these plains that are near the mountains where that's inhabited by griffins. But the orcs for the early part of their civilization or culture or history,
this particular group,
they were like horse lords. They're like the Mongols riding the horses, and maybe they became a little renowned for that. But then all of a sudden, this like griffin infestation happens because there's so many horses, yummy, delicious horses ready to be eaten.
It's like, what happens if pizza just moved in?
Pizza just moved in next door.
Pretty much. It's the opposite of that. Instead of pizza moving in, griffins moved in. The pizza was already there.
No, that's true.
So
I moved into where pizza is.
So one of the great orc chieftains comes up with a solution to this dilemma. We are great hunters and warriors and riders of horses, but we have no horses to ride, so we will ride the things that eat our horses.
And perhaps he epically wrestled a griffin to the ground as it ate his little horse, or some other story.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Like that, the story might go like that, and what actually happened is completely different. But
he just snatched an egg from someplace and raised it.
Yeah. But the legend is, as the griffin was feasting upon his horse, he wrestled it to the ground until it submitted, and from that point on, the griffins always have pledged their allegiance to this orc tribe.
Yeah,
as long as they have the steady supply of food.
As long as they have food.
And the horses were always they're wilds, so they tamed some of them, but the horses are always there.
Yeah. So, but in the reality that happened is like the orcs started raiding the nests and stealing all the eggs and raising the hatchlings, and then they began breeding them, and eventually. They either assimilated or they probably mostly assimilated the ones that were wild left because maybe maybe they end up mating with the griffins that are already there, because I think griffins mate for life too. It might say or it might not say, but they come in. The mated pairs are common. So like slowly but surely, like the ones that were wild, they might have started like pulling into the fold. And maybe the orcs don't even live on the plains anymore. That was the hippogriff. Yeah, maybe they live in these like areas up in the mountains where they now can raise the the Griffins, and then they use them to hunt the horses and raid and pillage villages.
Yeah,
So-
a raid or a hunt is just a flight away now.
So with the added advantage of, you know, a fly speed of 80, you know, what is a orc riding griffin war party going to change? How is it going to change the environment? You know?
Well, one, you know, I think like you're gonna have the elite cavalry, so there's going to be Orcs riding the Griffins instead of your standard orc. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit better orc riding the Griffins, and you know, maybe they even put barding on them. It might only be hide, you know, or something primitive, but still, it's better than nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and also maybe at some point they bred them for their appearance and their color. So like, you know, maybe, you know, the eagle parts are all like black feathers with you know, with some different color highlights or whatever.
Yeah, or like a stone gray, or
Now,
Yeah.
What about
with black flecks?
you know, what about having some kind of like essentially gauntlet for their eagle talons that, you know, would be more threatening, if not, you know, in use,
Like a
in
war claw.
appearance. Like
Yeah.
what if it was like, you know, a war claw where there's like, you know, serrated talons or whatnot. To number one, it would protect the forelimbs of your mount, but at the same time have a terrifying appearance. You know, when you see the things land.
Yeah, yeah. There's like
click, click, click.
Absolutely, you could definitely do something like that. You could dress them up. You know, maybe it's part of like the special war armor. Orcs are very capable crafters, so perhaps, you know, this was a huge shift in their whole culture from being more like nomadic plains people to more of a they developed a settlement in the mountains, and maybe they are now forging and crafting arms and armor for themselves. And why wouldn't that extend to their mouth? So at this point now, instead of just being, you know, hide barding, you know, maybe you know, it's plate or chain barding. You know, they build these talons that go with it. You know, it could be, and you know, it could be like the start of like that orc, like that particular group of orcs starting to dominate the region.
Now, speaking of arms and armor, with flying mounts, what kind of change do we have to the normal orc setup for weapons?
Well, I think they'd be more inclined to use ranged weapons, you know, just because, yeah, they might have lances and stuff like that. But then again, if you go with, you know, they were kind of like Mongols and horse lords, then maybe they've always been like that. And so it's just, all they did is change them out.
So
No.
you could have, you know, nets, you could have javelins.
Yeah, I would say javelins over the choice of using an actual bow.
See, I feel the short bow. That's I believe that was the weapon.
Yeah, that
of
is
the Mongol.
classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
short bow is the you know, preferred, you know, cavalry ranged weapon. I just see these guys, you know, having javelins, you know, to really work with their physical stature.
Well,
yeah, the power of an orc.
that's true. But yeah, then again too, like, or maybe they just revel in melee combat,
That's
melee
So
combat.
they'll just jump off that griffin with their
Yeah.
axe swinging.
No, they fight from Griffin back.
Oh, okay. I see.
You know, they fight as a
as a
unit.
unit. Yeah.
I mean, that would be pretty freaking scary. You know, someone swinging an axe at you or a halberd or something, and you know, you got these beaks and claws snapping at you at the same time.
Yeah, I think it would have to be some kind of pole axe or halberd kind of.
Yeah, lance.
Yeah,
something-
lance, some kind of
So-
weapon like that.
Something that gives you a little bit of reach. I mean, just because it's easier to fight from, you know, the mount
Yeah.
that way, spear, something. So basically, you know, yeah, I think it's like a fun idea that they like, because they basically turned their problem into their solution.
Mhm. Now the other thing here, it says that once trained, a griffin is a fierce and loyal steed, and it bonds with one master for life. So like there could be like, you know, some kind of you know, sadistic, you know, death ceremony for either the griffin or the rider if the other passes. Like they could totally be
Oh no, an orc can bond to a Nova Griffin.
I don't know. I think
you get kicked out of the league of Griffin riding for letting Griffin die.
I think it could totally be like, you know, like part of their culture of like, you know, when you bond,
like the Egyptians, they bury them together.
Totally, just like, you know, blood for blood, you know, my life for your life, and you know,
kind of sounds like a marriage. This is a family show, Ted. We don't get into things like bestiality here.
I'm not going that route, dude. I'm just saying, like, I think it would be really cool, and like, you know, if things had, you know, progressed in your world, that you were, you know, somehow come to see, you know, what's going on. You might not know how this region is going, and you know, you've got a griffin who's died, and the rider is there for essentially the burial, and like the last part is, you know, he takes his own life to, you know, basically it's like, all right, well, you know, we're a raiding, you know, riding culture, and without my mount, I'm useless. I think it'd be cool, and it would definitely, you know, take these orcs.
I like it. I think it is cool, but part of me is going
corny.
No. I'm just going, well, you could get another one.
I mean,
but someday someone will, wait a minute, I could get another one.
Maybe he's the one that broke the trend.
Yeah,
well, I mean, that's something you could do as well. Like have that part of, you know, have that.
I definitely could see, you know, them having to put the griffin down though if the rider goes in the middle of battle, because now, like, they're kind of tame and loyal to that person.
Right
now, you know, now it's like, now it's going to go nuts with rage. Yeah, but I still agree. Like, you could definitely do the whole Klingon thing with, like, you know, when the mount dies, and they also the rider takes his life, and they go off to the afterlife together.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a, you know, a marriage thing or a sexual thing. It's just like it's inbred in the culture that much that, you know, like you give the egg to the child, you know, and they grow up together. They form that bond together. So without the other, it's useless.
Are you laughing because he said inbreeding?
No. Because I was thinking about woe to the orc child who cracks his egg.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, too bad for you, kiddo.
I think you know, to properly have, you know, the richness of culture, you need to have something that's you know, unique and stands out. And I think something as essentially sadistic as that.
I don't think it's sadistic. I think it wouldn't be sadistic. It would be about, like, it would be right order to them. So
that's just
they're not like tearing pieces off him until he dies. I think that would be sadistic.
Well, it's just it doesn't fit in our, you know, our order.
There's like a honor finality to it. Like I can't undo this mistake.
Right, and it's a way for a you know, you to take, you know, the orc culture and totally put it in another light. You know, it makes these guys so much different than the words on these pages.
Well, you know, too, like, you have to think about too, like, how many griffins are there to go around, and how many orcs are there? Mm-hmm. So, like, again, we're talking about, like, this is like an elite unit.
It might be 10% of the population max. Yeah, that might be the available griffins.
Right, and also, like, maybe there's certain things or certain you have to go through to become one of these chosen orcs.
And you have to do it as a child, you know, so that you can be able to get the egg, so that you raise it up.
I would think there would be some kind of like training, initiation kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like the Spartan training.
Yeah,
like maybe they select, you know, the strongest of the orcs, and then they kind of get shuttled off onto this, special living arrangement where they basically are raised up together, and, you know, part of that is, you know, they select an egg,
and all I heard was here is, you know, next on the reality show.
Well, yeah.
So I would think, rather than getting offing yourself when your griffin dies, I think rather that you get stuck into like a second class citizenry kind of position. You know how like the Goliaths are like, oh, you're weak, go off and die someplace.
Yeah.
Well, when you're an orc that loses his griffin, especially if it was due not necessarily to battle,
they make you a nanny
due to your own like what they consider your incompetence or something, or your own weakness, then you're basically like a riderless fighter at that point. It's like being like a Ronin. Like,
Well,
you know,
so I had this
without
idea
a
where
lord.
they actually put them to then basically train the youngest of these Griffin riders, and they have to, and it basically they get sent off where the children are being held and kept and
So
raised.
really, literally the nanny.
Yeah, literally, like basically, so they get to
Your glory days are over.
Yeah, but they still get to use the experience and the knowledge about Griffins and being a rider, and so they still can serve the tribe.
Yeah, I see that as the utility of that choice rather than the offing them then. Because you're taking a resource that's no longer good for what it was made for and reapplying it to something else.
It could be somewhere in between. Like, it could be a choice. Do you want to die an honorable warrior, or do you want to serve the rest of our people as the nanny?
I think that works. I can accept that. It's a choice.
Yeah. So
I still like the
Well, yeah, I think they both work on different degrees.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's dishonorable discharge. They give you the option to kill yourself.
For honorable discharge.
No, dishonorable discharge. When you've done something
Yeah,
stupid,
but
guy
like
Griffin killed.
Yeah, but what's the point in leaving dishonorably if you kill yourself? I think
Well, I mean, that's like the way to get it back.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's an honorable discharge.
Okay, yeah. Overall, that's the end.
The nanny is kind of the dishonorable discharge. Or maybe you just got busted back down to a private. I don't know. You military people, let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, share.
Even subscribe.
I thought I was missing one, but I just lost it.
You guys can patronize us in a good way by checking out our Patreon account. Even $1 will help us out to give you guys new and better content and help us get some better equipment to help you get there.
Just go check out all the articles at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.